Hi, I'm Allison from Get Online NOLA, and today we're going to be talking about Google Analytics and how it can help your small business. So what is Google Analytics? Google Analytics is one of Google's marketing tools, and it gives you data about your website. It's a tool that gives you more information about how your customers use your website, so you can track how they're moving through your site and make improvements if you need to. Google Analytics is actually super flexible, so it can track things outside of websites like apps, but for this video, we're just going to be focusing on how you can use Google Analytics on your website. So why do you need it? Without Google Analytics, it's really hard to tell how your website is performing. With the information that you receive from Google Analytics, you can make choices about where you might need to update your website, where you can focus your time on social media and other marketing tactics, and how your customers are using your website. Google Analytics helps you answer questions like, how many people are visiting my website? What are their demographics, like their age, their location? What device are they using? What internet browser, like Chrome or Firefox or Safari? What social media platforms are sending the most valuable traffic to your website? And how much of your traffic is organic, where it's coming naturally from search, or how much of it is coming from your paid ads? So let's quickly run through how to set up a Google Analytics account. First thing you're going to do is go to analytics.google.com. From there, sign into your Google account. Set up your account with a name, your website URL, your industry category, and your time zone. From there, you can grab your Google Analytics code. And it looks a little bit scary to put in the code on the back end of your website, but most websites do have a plugin that allows this to be done very simply. And then from there, you're just gonna have to wait for a little bit of data to come in. Google Analytics can't go backwards and track the data that has already happened on your website before the code was installed. So you are gonna have to wait to see how the data rolls in. If this is the first time you're going to have analytical data on your website, we suggest you resist the urge to dive into the data as soon as you have something to look at. Instead, we urge you to wait at least a week, maybe two, so that there's some actual data to start getting into, instead of making rash decisions based on a very small amount of traffic. Your Google Analytics homepage has a ton of information on it, so we're just going to walk through it pretty quickly and point out the things that you're going to want to keep an eye on. The first thing you'll see is a graph of your traffic over the last 7 days. This includes the number of sessions, the bounce rate, the average session duration. You'll also see the current number of active users, those are people who are on your website right that very minute, and the average page views per minute. If you continue to scroll down, you'll see a chart of how people have found your website within the last week. In different shades of blue, you'll see the organic traffic, the search traffic, and the direct traffic. Continuing through the homepage, you'll see different metrics like the person's device that they were using, what is their geographical location, and users by time of day. We want to call your attention to the pages report at the very end of the homepage, which gives you information on which pages got the most traffic in the last 7 days. There are several metrics that you're going to want to keep an eye on. But before we get into those metrics, we want to define a couple of terms for you. So the user is the actual person using your website. That is any person on their one computer, their tablet, or their phone. A page view on your website is how many times that page has been viewed. A session is the group of activities one user did on your website. This includes the number of different pages that they visited, how long were they on each page, and how long were they on the website total. So to put it all together, if one person visited one page and then left, that would trigger one session, one page view, and one user. But if that one user visited 5 different pages, it would contribute to 5 different page views and 5 pages per session. And all of that can contribute to your bounce rate, which is one of the metrics that we advise you to keep an eye on. A bounce is when one user visits a page and then immediately leaves your website. You want to keep an eye on your bounce rate because it can be an indicator of several different things. It can mean that maybe that page is broken, a user got to that page, it wasn't working, and so they left. It could mean that the information on the page is a little bit confusing, so maybe they tried to read through it and then they left. Or it could mean that that page was really amazing, it had tons of information, they read it for several minutes before they got all the information they needed and then left. So you really want to keep an eye on both your bounce rate and the time that users spend on your page. If you have a high bounce rate and also people are only on the page for a couple of seconds, if that means that there's probably a problem that you need to fix. You'll also want to keep an eye on how people have found your website. There are many different ways that you can access this information, but you get the most in-depth information through the Acquisition tab. You can click on this tab and filter by source so you can see what kind of social media platform is directing the most traffic to your website. You can look at your organic search and you can look at your paid ads as well. We hope this gave you a great insight into how to use Google Analytics for your business. You can learn more at getonlinenola.com. Bye.